And your time right now is 5:45. Welcome back to Good Day Orlando. It took most of the night to make it happen, but the U.S. Senate has finally approved a $9 billion package of spending cuts. Fox's Doug Luzader joining us live in Washington, D.C. with more. Doug, good morning.
Good morning.
Good to see you, Doug. On the chopping block, foreign aid programs and support for public broadcasting.
Well, this is really just a small portion of the cuts that DOGE, the Department of Government Efficiency, had identified. It does show you how difficult it is to do spending cuts in Washington. This is just a fraction of the DOGE cuts. It's a fraction of what we spend every year in government. But Republicans had to fight tooth and nail to get this done. And it goes to show that every bit of spending that the government does has defenders. In this case, you have folks that were defending outlays for public television, public radio, the Corporation for Public Broadcasting, as well as foreign aid. I mean, that was a big chunk of this, foreign aid programs that were identified through investigations into USAID.
Doug, I want to move on to this subject because we didn't really get a chance to talk about it yesterday, the Epstein files. It seems the president's base is split on these files, but Steve Bannon says, hey, release them. Mike Johnson says, hey, release them. The president says there's nothing there. Pam Bondi in the hot seat. There was a lot going on here.
It's very difficult to disprove a conspiracy theory, and there have been all kinds of conspiracy theories swirling around the whole Epstein matter, from his jail suicide to what many believed was a list of clients that existed. And look, a lot of folks in MAGA world really kind of hyped this up, and then all of a sudden the information isn't being released. Now, what the president is saying is that he thinks credible information should be released, but will we see something coming from the Attorney General on this? There are certainly some big supporters of the president who are calling for the Attorney General's ouster over all of this. The president still backs her, but will we see more information? There's even been calls for a special prosecutor to look into this. But at the moment, a lot of this information remains under wraps.
It certainly does. I do want to talk about this as well, Doug. Before we let you go, we know the president recently criticized the Federal Reserve chairman, but also says that a firing is unlikely. Obviously, he says, listen, I want interest rates to be lower. Jerome Powell says, listen, I'm not going to do that until I have more information about these tariffs. Can there be a middle ground here?
Well, the president really wants to see interest rates lowered to give the economy kind of some juice to start housing markets again. Powell, though, is concerned, to your point, about the long-term impact of tariffs. You know, thus far, we haven't seen big hikes in inflation. We saw a little hike reported this week, but it was relatively modest. But we haven't really seen a huge impact from tariffs. Are those yet to come? This is what the Federal Reserve is concerned about. If the president were to fire Powell, there would be some blowback in the markets, some uncertainty following that. So he has indicated that he is not going to do that, but he does intend to replace him when his term ends.
All right, we'll have to leave it there. Always good talking to you, Doug. Thanks so much.
Thanks so much.